Hello, and I am back now with Mike Vuckovich, the Superintendent of Indiana Area School District. Mr. Vuckovich, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for the opportunity to be on your show again. I appreciate it.
Starting right off, last week, families of Indiana Area School District were informed that there'd be some changes made. And now the governor has closed schools for the year. The district officials have a somewhat better timeline for providing educational services. Can you start by just telling us how things have been going thus far, and any feedback that you're hearing from the community and also educators?
Yeah, no, thank you. Absolutely. I think everything's going really well. We issued a survey out to our families last week. We had over 1,000 responses. And from the 1,000 responses, we got a great deal of information back that validates and solidifies what we're doing and gives us some area and room for growth. So I think like anything new like this, there's always room for improvement, but I'm really proud of the work that our teachers, our families, and our students have done to make this possible. We had very little time to turn us around, and I think I'm really proud of the work that we've done that thus far to provide, some stability and to continue our kids' education moving forward. So I'm greatly proud where we're at. As you know, we've done a switch from focus on enrichment to review to more of now planned instruction. So we're heading to that next phase of our plan, which we thought all along would happen. We started this week and we're moving forward and things are going well. Like anything else, though, there's always room for improvement. We're aware of that and we're cognizant of that. And we're taking that data and we're going to continue to improve and get better.
On the new guidelines that are happening or occurring right now, Pennsylvania has mandatory attendance policies in place. How is the Indiana School District going to hold students accountable for school attendance, and also hold parents accountable for students attending school now that we've gone virtual?
Well, what we've done is we spent a lot of time discussing, debating this. We just sent a letter out to families. Probably think on Wednesday morning, we sent a letter out to families explaining that exact process, what we're doing. And I got to tell you, Dr. Moore, we spent a lot of time really talking about the equity in our practices to make sure that what we're doing is fair, equitable, and in the best interest of our kids. We're going to surrender to the fact that attendance is a part of what we do, but what we're not going to do is just take it in a draconian manner. For example, what we're doing here at the district is we're still sticking true to our grading policy where the work is still completed. We're still learning as expected to occur, but we're going to hold off on putting a grade there because of the equity piece. But in regards to attendance, look, we have established, we're asking our teachers to establish their critical assignments for each week that will determine adequate engagement and therefore attendance. And this includes exit tickets, quizzes, projects, anything that teacher thinks is reflective of the student's participation and attendance. And again, participation will determine attendance, just exactly that, not accuracy. And then what we're saying is by noon every Monday, we're having teachers input the students' attendance for the week prior. And if you ask why are we doing that, well, it allows kids, if we're working in an asynchronous environment, it allows kids some extra additional time to get those assignments completed and get it in. Because we're not aware of every child's current conditions at home. Are they serving in multiple roles? Do they only have one computer, but numerous brothers and sisters or families that need to do their work? So when we first started this, the hallmark of our plan is and will always be flexibility and compassion. And I think even though now we move to planned instruction, even though we're requiring attendance, it's not a, I got you. It's more of a how can I help you? And are we really being accountable to each other? And are we still moving forward? So we have some protocols in place that again we think are aligned to our flexibility and to our idea of compassion. So we have a couple things in place. When students are disengaged or absent, we're calling home repeatedly by the teacher, guidance counselor, and or the principal. We're doing everything we can to make sure that our kids are engaged, that our kids are safe, and our kids are moving forward. So our approach is not to be hurtful, but our approach is to do everything we can to help kids move forward. And I think we established a plan that exactly does that. Now, again, there's some bumps in the road. We know it's not the most ideal process, but we do think we have a responsibility to help make sure our kids are engaged, not just entertained. We do think we have a responsibility to make sure our kids are learning and moving forward in the curriculum to the best of our ability. And that's exactly what we're doing.
Can you tell us about one of the changes that families have been informed about? It's the final grading for this year. Can you tell us about those details? And also then what can we expect for the fourth quarter as compared to the first three?
Yeah, what we're going to do is the grades are going to be based on the first three quarters as far as the numeric or letter grade. We just think this is an equity issue. We think with the kids who don't have internet access at home, it's an unfair practice to expect them to be graded the same way with the child who may have computer access. So let me be clear in that learning's still moving forward. We're still having expectations that kids are logging in, completing their work in an asynchronous environment. But we are going to place the grades and value the grades based off the first 9 weeks. What we did, and it's on my website, or I'm sorry, my Twitter feed and social media feed, we increased and lengthened the third 9 week period till April 21st to allow our students to turn in extra work and to have an opportunity to improve and help their grades. Because again, if equity is going to be at the heart of what we're doing, I don't think we should see kids get punished for a fourth 9 weeks by not having access to internet. And additionally, with the abrupt closure on March 13th, we wanted to extend that deadline to allow students, families, and everyone opportunity to complete work. So when you talk about putting equity first and being fair and flexible and compassionate, we think the policies and procedures we brought forward do exactly that, and that's our hope.
Wonderful. Can you also talk a little bit about, and I know my children are are wondering about this, and I know, to some of us it's like, oh, kind of petty in the broader sense of what's going on. But my kids are like, when do we go back and get our things? When is the school going to open? We have, coats there, jackets there, So the kids are just wondering, when do they get back into the building to get some of their belongings?
Yeah, we're actually starting that process as far as discussing it as a team. This week, we have our director of maintenance and our building principals working on an exact plan. I think I'd be lying to you if I said it's going to be as early as next week. It's going to be a while. It's going to be a couple weeks. We're looking end of May, beginning of June to try to allow some sort of plan to allow students to come in and exactly do that, come in and get their work. In the meantime, if we are treating it by a case basis. For example, some kids needed a textbook or something educational related that we will now allow our principals to go to that child's locker, bag it up, and bring out the item to them so no one's harmed by this. But we are working on a plan. We're hopeful to communicate that here in the next several weeks. But I would expect it to happen mid to late May, even June, and we'll do it in a nice, detailed, orderly fashion. Because at this point, we have to adhere to the guidelines, and we know what they are. So we want to do it in a really controlled environment that it falls aligned with the CDC protocols as well. So we're on it, and we're hopeful to communicate that here in the near future.
Yeah, our health and safety of our children are definitely foremost in all of those things. We also know that sadly, the graduating seniors will have to forgo many of the traditional senior year activities, graduation being one of them. Has the district determined how they will handle that at this point?
No, we haven't. We know we had the high school principal and teachers get on with the students, the seniors, and have a discussion about that. They got to provide some input. And look, I think they should, right? I think they should have some choice and a voice in what they want their senior graduation to look like and/or prom. So we're working and vetting those options through, and it could result in two things. One, a virtual graduation, as well as the traditional ceremony later in June or July, depending on where we at. And that's where this is difficult. Sybil, we're building this in flight, and we know these things mean a lot to people, but we have to be smart. We have to be strategic in what we're doing. It has to fall within the guidelines. So we're working through it. And I wrote a letter to our family saying, look, if you have options or ideas, please send them to us. But I do want to assure everyone who's watching, we're going to figure it out. We're going to do something because we understand the impact and the meaningfulness behind this. And we also want it to be memorable. So we're on it. We're working towards it, but no definite plan at this point.
Some comfort to seniors. I guess moving forward, in the summer, it's just around the corner. And although the district does not have too many activities going on in the summer, how has the district decided to handle things like orientations and summer programming? Because I know like a lot of the summer classes are online. How are they going to, navigate COVID during the summer?
Yeah, the hard part is right now we're doing everything online because we see that's what's best at the current time and the current conditions. But one thing I'm really concerned about, and I don't want to bring much, a craziness to it, but we're really worried about our youngest learners, what they're losing by not having being in front of their teachers and having them in front of them. So what we're developing is not only a summer school for credit recovery and credit advancement for our secondary kids, we're also now partnering and working with the United Way to build a summer reading program for our youngest learners in grades K through 5. So we hope we could do our best to mitigate the loss that may occur as a result of this spring/summer slides, because we want to make sure our kids are advancing the best we can. Now, will we adapt our curriculum to meet our kids where they are? Absolutely. But I think if we have the opportunity to provide some summer opportunity and programming for our kids, then that's important to us, and we're exactly going to do that.
Wonderful. So moving forward, what does the immediate future look like for the district? And have you begun to make any of the plans for reopening, maybe in the fall or whatever the determinations may be?
Yeah, Sybil, we're building multiple plans, right? And the hard part is what I have to tell my administration and unfortunately teachers is we may not use any of them, right? We may use one of them. For example, next week we're going to send out a communication to teachers about we have to start preparing for the harsh reality that we may not go back in the fall. And what does that look like? And that's not to scare anyone or cause confusion. It's really to be transparent and say, start planning now. We know that you may not need the work or it may not be applicable come July or August, but we think we want to start preparing, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we're working on a multitude of scenarios of what it looks like, and we're looking for some more guidance from the CDC, the federal government, state government about what those guidelines may look like in regards to this health and safety of students. What does social distancing look like come August, come September? And that's what we're trying to get some clarity on. So we're building multiple plans, and our goal is to be flexible and understanding that we need to be transparent and realistic that some of the plans we are building may not work. But I rather work on a solution than just sit here and admire a problem that come August, then we don't have anything ready for our kids. I think our families, our kids, and most importantly, the whole entire community is expecting us to deliver. So that's exactly what we're going to do.
I guess as a parent, I'm very happy to hear that. I know there was some angst about some news information that came out that, schools may not open until September 15th or, later in the fall due to disinfected and, and things like that the school district would have to take care of. And I was just very curious, what that looked like. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our community out there as far as COVID-19 or anything just in general?
Yeah, and this may sound melodramatic and silly, and I apologize if it does, but I think when you ask me what is a primary responsibility of a teacher or an administrator or any leader, it's to provide hope. And I want everyone in the community to know that our teachers are working diligently to provide hope and opportunity for our kids. They miss our kids. No one wants to be home in front of their computers for 8 hours a day. And I know our teachers are doing that. We can't wait for the day we can open our doors to have our kids back in our school because our teachers generally unconditionally love our kids. And I think that's what matters. And I want to assure everyone that we're working diligently and have multiple plans in place and we're here for you. I also would like to tell everyone who's watching, we got to do everything we can to make sure our parents are okay too. We talk a lot about the stress of teachers and students, rightfully so. But I think one thing we're ignoring or could be ignoring at times is the stress of that upon the parents who now have to assume a different role, who may not be able to do geometry or, I know Gerald's a math teacher, so I'll throw that out there, right? Be able to do geometry or calculus. It doesn't mean they're bad parents. It just means they can't do calculus right now because they may not have used it in a while. So hopefully our parents see that our plan was built for that flexibility and compassion, and it's not just mere rhetoric. And we want to help kids, and we have office hours, right? So if you need help, the teachers have office hours twice a day. They're there, they're accessible, and we're in this together. And it's not just a silly slogan. It breaks our heart not to see our kids, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to be fine. And there'll be bumps along the way, but our ability is not going to be. We're not going to be known just for falling down. What we are going to be known for picking ourselves back up. And we're here. We're in this together, and I just appreciate the opportunity to be a part of this wonderful community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being with us today and coming back to give us an update on what's going on in the school district right now. We'd love to have you come back, kind of close to the school year to see what the summer looks like and to see what the future looks like.
Yeah, I look forward to it. Please, anytime you want me, it's an honor to be a part of this, and thank you for your time.
Thank you. Take care.
You too.